Once upon a time, in a distant galaxy called Zephyra, there lived a beautiful alien princess named Leora. She ruled over the planet Vortera, known for its bright blue skies and shimmering pink rivers. Leora was graceful and wise, loved by her people. However, there was one thing that weighed heavily on her heart: her only daughter, Princess Mira. Mira was 16 years old, blooming into a kind and strong young woman. However, she had always felt different from the other Vorterans. She often gazed longingly at the stars, dreaming of worlds beyond her own. Leora noticed this longing in her daughter and wished to find a mate for her, someone who could bridge the distance between their world and Mira's dreams. One day, Leora decided to hold a grand ceremony called the Celestial Gathering. It was a tradition among the royal family to invite beings from nearby planets to meet the royal daughter. The goal was to find a suitable companion for Mira. Leora's heart raced with hope and anxiety as she prepared for the event. She wanted to make sure that Mira found not just a mate, but a true friend who could understand her. As the day of the Celestial Gathering approached, Leora sent out invitations across the galaxy. Soon, beings from various planets arrived, including a stout Martian warrior named Zine, a witty Plutorian engineer named Jax, and a gentle Nibrian healer named Faye, each being brought a unique gift, a symbol of their planet, into the Grand Hall of Vortara. However, none of them seemed to connect with Mira the way Leora had hoped. Mira wandered through the hall, her heart feeling heavy as she watched her mother greet guests with radiant smiles that masked her worry. With every passing moment, Leora grew more concerned. She needed to find the right companion for her daughter, and time was running out. Then, just as the sun began to set, a different kind of guest arrived. A bright blue spaceship landed softly outside the palace. Everyone turned to watch as its door opened, and out stepped Leo, a human from a planet known as Earth. He was a tall boy with messy brown hair and a curious gaze. He looked around, awed by the vibrant colors and strange creatures surrounding him. Leora approached Leo with a warm smile. "Welcome, young traveler. What brings you to Vortara?" "I came to explore," Leo replied, his voice steady. "I've read about this planet and wanted to see it for myself. I never imagined I would be invited to a royal gathering." Leora sensed a spark in Mira's eyes as she watched Leo. There was something special about him that she hadn't seen in others. Leora invited Leo to join the festivities, watching as he and Mira began to talk. They shared stories about their worlds, their dreams, and their hopes for the future. As the evening went on, the connection between Leo and Mira blossomed. They laughed and danced beneath the starlit sky. Leora felt a glimmer of hope in her heart. Perhaps this was the bond her daughter had been searching for. However, the celebrations were interrupted by a sudden tremor. A warning alarm blared, sending waves of panic across the gathered guests. Leora quickly learned that a group of space pirates had entered the orbit of Vortara, aiming to capture its resources and valuables. "Everyone, please stay calm," Leora commanded. "We must protect our home." She turned to her guards, instructing them to prepare for the unexpected attack. Mira grabbed Leo's hand tightly, her initial joy now replaced with fear. "What do we do?" she asked, her voice quivering. Leo's mind raced. Though he came from a simple life on Earth, he had read stories of bravery. "We can't just hide," he said. "We need to show them we are strong. Let's help defend your planet." Mira's eyes lit up with determination. "Yes, we can do this together." She turned to her mother, seeking permission. Leora nodded, realizing she had raised a courageous daughter. "Very well. Let us show them the spirit of Vortara." Leora, Mira, and Leo assembled a small team of brave warriors. Together, they rushed to the launch pads where the royal ships were stored. Leora led the way, and Mira and Leo followed closely behind, adrenaline surging through them. The pirates had already deployed their ships, steel and smoke swirling in the air. As the royal fleet prepared to take off, Leora, Mira, and Leo climbed into a small interstellar craft. Leo had some experience in flying due to his adventures back home, and he took control of the ship's controls. "Just like in the simulations," Leo shouted, eyes focused ahead as they soared into the chaotic space battle. Mira helped navigate, her knowledge of Vortara's star maps proving useful. Leora, with her royal grace, provided guidance, reminding them of their mission. As they flew into battle, Mira's heart raced beside Leo, feeling a rush of excitement. They dodged blasts of light from the pirates' ships, countering with their own weapons. Leora was at the forefront, showing her prowess as a warrior queen. "Keep your aim steady," Leora shouted, guiding Mira and Leo to aim for the engines of the enemy vessels. With teamwork, determination, and a dash of bravery, they managed to disable several pirate ships. Mira felt exhilarated, realizing that they were fighting not just for her home, but for their newfound bond as well. In the midst of the battle, Leo glanced at Mira, who was focused and fierce. "I never imagined I would be here, fighting alongside an alien princess," he said, grinning. "We can do anything together," Mira replied with confidence. After a fierce struggle, the remaining pirate ships fled, retreating from Vortara's defenses. Cheers erupted from the royal fleet as they emerged victorious. Leora hugged her daughter, her heart swelling with pride. She turned to Leo, gratitude shining in her eyes. "You were incredible," she praised. "Both of you. You fought bravely to protect Vortara." Mira smiled at Leo, knowing her heart was whispering the truth. "Will you stay with us, Leo?" Leo hesitated, thinking about his home, but the bond he felt with Mira was unlike anything he had ever experienced. "I'd love to explore more of Vortara, if that's okay with you," he replied. As the sun set over the horizon, painting the skies with hues of orange and purple, Leora knew she had found the right mate for her daughter. Together they would explore the galaxies, united by courage and friendship. The adventure of Mira and Leo was just beginning, a story that would echo through the stars. Princess Lyra of Xylos, a planet bathed in the perpetual twilight of 3 suns, had a problem. Her daughter, Princess Ilara, was 16, and according to Xylosian custom, it was time for her to choose a mate. But Ilara, with her rebellious streak and fascination with Earth's old science fiction movies, refused to consider any of the eligible Xylosian princes. She wanted a human. Lyra, a pragmatic and wise ruler, knew she couldn't force her daughter. Ilara was strong-willed, much like her mother had been in her youth. Besides, the Xylosian royal family had always valued diversity, even if it was unusual. Their planet was known for its tolerance, a trait prized across many galaxies. Lyra dispatched her most trusted advisor, Xylo, a tall, slender Xylosian with iridescent skin and a sharp mind, to Earth. Xylo, a master diplomat, had negotiated treaties with countless alien species, but this was different. He had to find a suitable human mate for a princess who dreamed of Earth sunsets and rock and roll. Xylo arrived in a disguised spaceship, landing in a quiet corner of Nevada. He studied Earth customs, marveling at the human capacity for both cruelty and kindness. He learned their courtship rituals, their societal norms, their strange obsession with coffee. His mission was delicate. He needed to find a human who would be a good match for Ilara, someone kind, intelligent, and brave, enough to handle intergalactic politics. Meanwhile, on Xylos, Ilara spent her days secretly watching Earth documentaries and old movies, fantasizing about meeting a human. She dreamed of sandy beaches, bustling cities, and the unpredictable nature of humans. She'd read books about Earth's history, its wars, and its triumphs. The human's resilience fascinated her. Xylo's search took months. He interviewed several candidates, a renowned astrophysicist, a charming adventurer, a kind-hearted doctor. But none seemed quite right. They were intelligent, sure, but lacked the spark, the specific kind of crazy Alara seemed to crave. One day, browsing through an online Earth-dating website, something he learned about from a human contact, Xylo stumbled upon a profile that caught his attention. The profile belonged to Alex, a talented but struggling artist, someone who was both passionate about his work and fiercely independent. Alex's profile spoke of his love for nature, his interest in other cultures, and his adventurous spirit. He also had a deep appreciation for old sci-fi movies, a point that Xylo found incredibly promising. Xylo arranged a covert meeting. He met Alex in a secluded cafe, disguised as a somewhat eccentric Earthling. He presented Alex with a seemingly impossible proposition to visit another planet, Xylo's, and possibly become the mate of an alien princess. Alex, instead of dismissing Xylo as insane, listened intently. Alex, who had always been fascinated by the unknown, saw an opportunity for a lifetime adventure. He was a dreamer, used to battling rejection and setbacks in his artistic career. This, for him, was the greatest adventure of all. Back on Xylos, Ilara was getting restless. She had given her mother an ultimatum. If a suitable mate wasn't found, soon she would go to Earth herself, despite the risks. Lyra, while worried, understood her daughter's determination. Xylo returned to Xylos with Alex, carefully keeping his identity secret. He explained everything to Princess Lyra, who was initially skeptical, but intrigued by Alex's earthly charm and open-mindedness. He had a natural warmth that radiated even under the three suns of Xylos. The meeting between Ilara and Alex was arranged in the royal gardens, under the soft glow of the three suns. Ilara, nervous but excited, found herself instantly drawn to Alex's easy laughter and kind eyes. They talked for hours, discovering a shared love for art, music, and adventurous spirits. The language barrier was initially a challenge, but they found a way to communicate through gestures, drawings, and a universal language of emotions. Alex discovered the breathtaking beauty of Xylos. He learned about its culture and the complexities of its political systems. He was accepted by Ilara's family, not only because of his kindness and charm, but because of his genuine curiosity about their world. He was not afraid of the unknown. He embraced it. Ilara, in turn, was fascinated by Alex's stories about Earth, its history, its struggles, its triumphs, and its quirky population. Their differences, instead of dividing them, enriched their connection. Their relationship, initially based on curiosity, blossomed into love. It was not a fairy tale, but a story of two souls from different worlds finding common ground, defying expectations, and finding a shared future. The galaxy, watching from afar, celebrated the unconventional yet beautiful union of an alien princess and her human mate, a testament to the power of love and acceptance across the stars. Once upon a time in a distant galaxy, there was a planet called Xarthex. Xarthex was unlike any planet in the universe. It had purple skies, sparkling rivers, and creatures with colors that glowed in the dark. The most amazing thing about Xarthex was its people, the Xarthexians. They were tall, with smooth skin in shades of blue and green, and they had large, expressive eyes that sparkled with curiosity. In the midst of Xarthex, there lived a young man named Max. He had traveled from Earth to study the Xarthexian way of life. Max was fascinated by their advanced technology and unique culture. He spent his days learning their language, exploring their cities, and making friends. Little did he know, his life was about to change forever. One sunny afternoon, while walking by the shimmering falls, Max met a beautiful Xarthexian named Lyra. She had long, flowing hair that changed colors with her mood. They quickly became friends, bonding over their shared love of adventure and discovery. Lyra showed Max the wonders of her world, and he admired her vibrant spirit. As weeks turned into months, their friendship blossomed into love. Max felt a mind-blowing connection with Lyra. One evening, under the dazzling stars, he gathered the courage to ask Lyra to be his partner for life. To his surprise, she answered with a bright smile and a burst of colorful light from her skin. "Yes, Max, I will," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with happiness. Soon after their engagement, Max returned to Earth to inform his family and prepare for the wedding. Everyone was excited, but Max's mom was worried. "Are you sure about this, Max? She's an alien. What will people think?" Max laughed. "Mom, love knows no boundaries. Besides, she's amazing." With his heart full of joy, Max invited Lyra to Earth for their wedding. The day was perfect. Friends and family gathered, and Lyra dazzled in a gown made of shimmering materials. The ceremony was beautiful, filled with love, laughter, and even a few surprises. After their wedding, Max and Lyra settled in a cozy house just outside a big city. They enjoyed a tranquil life together, learning from one another. However, a few months later, Lyra made a surprising announcement. "Max, we need to talk," she said one evening, her skin glowing a bright yellow. "Sure. What's on your mind?" Max asked, curious. "I want us to have a family," she declared. "We should have at least a dozen children." Max blinked in disbelief. "A dozen? Lyra, that's a lot." Lyra laughed, her eyes twinkling. "On Zarthex, families are big. It's joyful to have many children running around." Max ran his fingers through his hair, trying to comprehend. "But a dozen? Isn't that a bit ridiculous?" "Not at all. Think about it," Lyra continued, excitement bubbling in her voice. "We could teach them about Earth and Zarthex. They would bring so much joy." Max loved the idea of having kids, but a dozen felt overwhelming. "Okay, how about we start with 2, or maybe 3? Lyra tilted her head, considering. "2 is a start, but I still want more later." With a smile, Max agreed. "All right, let's have our 2 first, but I get to pick the names." Over the next few months, their lives took on a new rhythm, filled with laughter and cooking together, planning for their future family. Lyra tried to adapt to Earth's customs, while Max embraced Zarthexian traditions. They were a perfect mix, and every day felt like an adventure. Finally, after Lyra became pregnant, they moved forward with joy and anticipation. Friends and family showered them with love, and soon, Lyra gave birth to twin boys. They named them Zane and Leo, inspired by both their worlds. The moment they held their boys, their hearts filled with a love they had never known. Max couldn't believe how perfect they were. The boys' skin shimmered in shades of blue and green, blending the colors of their parents. As the boys grew, they became the center of their home. Every day was filled with laughter and chaos. Max and Lyra experienced joys and challenges as new parents. They shared stories, sang songs, and explored the universe together, showing their boys that the world was vast and beautiful. One day, while playing with Zane and Leo in the backyard, Lyra arrived with an unusual look on her face. "Max, I have some news," she said, her colors changing to an excited orange. "What is it?" he asked, a bit nervous. "I found out I'm pregnant again." Max's eyes widened. "Wow, that's amazing!" Lyra giggled, her joy lighting up the surrounding air. "But it means we are having more kids sooner than I expected. Are you ready for this?" Max laughed. "Ready or not, I suppose we are in for a wild ride. Just think of the fun they will have playing together." With more excitement than fear, they embraced this new journey. Lyra continued to spotlight her culture while Max introduced Earth traditions. Their sons learned the best of both worlds, growing into adventurous spirits filled with curiosity. Soon, Lyra was pregnant again and again. Max watched in disbelief yet deep joy as they welcomed one child after another. No matter the number, each child brought immense laughter and love to their lives. Years passed, and in what felt like the blink of an eye, they lived in a vibrant home bustling with energy. Lyra smiled at her dozen children, and Max realized how lovely it was to have such a lively family, each one a unique blend of Earth and Zarthex. At times, the house felt chaotic, but it was filled with smiles, learning, and joy. Max chuckled. Lyra, maybe your idea of a dozen was not so ridiculous after all. With a sparkle in her eyes, Lyra replied, I told you, didn't I? Max nodded, realizing he wouldn't trade this extraordinary life for anything. Together they forged a love that defied standards, proving that families come in all shapes and sizes and that love knows no boundaries. The shimmering portal spat out Xylar, my alien wife, onto our patio. She was radiant, even more so than usual, her iridescent scales catching the sunset. Darling, she announced, her voice a melodic chime. I have news. I, Captain Rex Stellar, veteran space explorer, braced myself. Xylar's news was rarely mundane. This time it was far from it. We're having babies, she said, her usual calm replaced with a giddy excitement that was utterly captivating. Many babies. Many, I echoed, my mind struggling to process. We'd discussed having children, of course. But many? At least a dozen, she confirmed, a mischievous glint in her multifaceted eyes. Possibly more? My jaw dropped. A dozen alien-human hybrid babies? My carefully planned life as a retired explorer felt suddenly chaotic. Xylar, sensing my surprise, giggled. Don't worry, my love. It's perfectly normal for my species. We have large families. The next few months were a whirlwind. Preparing for one baby was a challenge. Preparing for a dozen felt like preparing for a small alien invasion. We expanded our already spacious home, transforming spare rooms into nurseries, complete with miniature gravity beds, nutrient dispensers, and holographic play systems. We even had to install a dedicated laundry system capable of handling the projected volume of tiny alien outfits. My best friend Jax, a gruff but kind mechanic, helped with the renovations. His initial reaction to the news had been a speechless stare, followed by a string of colorful expletives, and then a quiet resolve to assist. His dry humor was a constant source of amusement amid the chaos. You're gonna need an army of nannies. Rex, he grumbled, tightening a bolt on a new gravity cradle, and a fleet of spaceships to ferry them around. Xylar, ever the efficient alien, had already begun to delegate. Her communications with her family back on Xylos, a planet teeming with vibrant life and even more vibrant family traditions, were constant. We received shipments of nutrient-rich Xylosian fruits and vegetables, along with specialized cradles, playthings, and, to my bewilderment, a miniature spaceship designed for transporting the babies. The day of the delivery arrived faster than we anticipated. Xylar's unique physiology ensured a swift, relatively painless birth. The first few arrivals were like a blur of iridescent skin, tiny claws, and surprisingly loud cries. Each baby, however, was unique, possessing a distinct personality and a remarkable capacity for causing chaos. Jax, who'd stayed on to assist, was now a frazzled but amused member of our chaotic household. He'd taken to wearing protective gear, thick padding on his forearms, while trying to feed, change, and generally manage the tiny, surprisingly strong aliens. These aren't babies, he'd muttered once, dodging a flying rattle. They're miniature demolition crews. One particularly spirited child, whom Xylar named Zip, took a special liking to Jax's toolkit. Zip discovered a knack for dismantling and reassembling Jax's tools, leaving Jax perpetually amused and frustrated. Another, named Fizz, had developed an affection for my prized collection of space rocks. He'd often be found attempting to improve them by coating them in various alien goo he'd found somewhere. Xylar found it amusing, I not so much. Then there was Zoom, who discovered his ability to operate the holographic play systems. The result? Chaos and laughter. The days were filled with a symphony of tiny alien gurgles, playful shrieks, and the occasional chorus of demanding cries. Sleep became a luxury. Quiet moments, a near myth. Yet, amidst the pandemonium, a profound love blossomed, Once quiet and organized, life was replaced with an overwhelming yet joyful cacophony. My retirement plan was thoroughly derailed. Jax, though perpetually exhausted, started to smile more. He'd even developed a soft spot for Zip and his mischievous tinkering. One evening, amidst the chaos of a multi-baby feeding frenzy, I looked at Xylar, her face radiant with motherhood, and then at our dozen boisterous little aliens. We were a family, a large, loud, and gloriously chaotic family, and it was, in its own ridiculous, wonderfully alien way, perfect. The exhaustion was real, the challenges were immense, but the love was boundless. It was a life I never could have imagined. A life far beyond the quiet retirement I'd planned, but a life I wouldn't trade for anything. The portal had brought more than just Xylar. It had brought a universe of love into our home. And that, I realized, was the greatest adventure of all. The story of one kid ridiculous had evolved into the saga of a dozen kids, exceptionally ridiculous, but undeniably loved.